During the summer of 2023, we moved to a remote Scottish Hebridean island to be its only two residents, along with our two pet sheep and pair of cats. These remote islands seem to retain an old-fashioned rhythm and a charm which we find encouraging us to live a more frugal and simple life, the way man was perhaps more intended to. We have an ancient stone cottage to restore, veggies to grow, livestock to build up, fish to catch and smoke, a boat to buy, and much more. Step back in time with us at the Scottish Isle.
So the quad has to go in this morning, and next week the car's going in.
Car, engine light is on, ABS light is on.
But we're going to get the quad back before
the car goes in?
Yep.
I hope so. He said he should only need it for the weekend. Otherwise we're walking everywhere.
I'm hoping that when we go up here, the ND filters are there for the camera, which are going to help with the light levels immensely.
You're saying it's you can't get the sky clear if you get the landscape clear.
Yeah, it's one or the other, but with the ND filters put on the lenses, it's going to cure that permanently, fingers crossed.
So peaceful.
We've never filmed down here when we've been going over the causeway, have we?
With the quad, no. Only filmed the boats. I need to get up here with a strimmer before the bracken takes over the entire island.
Such a waste of space, this byre.
I think it could be utilised better. How?
Don't know, but it is, don't you think?
Airbnb?
Can't believe how still and quiet it is.
It's just...
It's that quiet that you can hear the silence, isn't it?
Your ears just drink it in, well mine do.
So quiet. Anyway, to business. They haven't seen us using this before, have they?
I don't think so. So you're
This is the one that they saw in the bio when they were saying, a few of the naysayers, why didn't you just use that to put all your furniture in it, take it over the...
Because the goat track going down to the cottage is about that wide.
It's as wide as the quad, isn't it?
Yeah.
So as wide as the quad is, that's it.
In some parts it's like sheer on either side, bedrock, so...
Right, the plan is, this trailer needs to be hooked up to the quad. Then the quad and the trailer need to be driven down to the crossing point where we go with the boats. Then we have to wait for the tide to get low enough to then drive the quad and the trailer over. And then what?
We uncouple the trailer from the quad.
When we're on the mainland.
Aye, hook it up to the car, drive the quad onto the trailer, and all the lot of us will go off to the friendly local garage.
It's a pain in the backside, but it's the only way to do it.
It's an adventure.
And I've never driven the quad with this on the back of it, so especially going down that hill. So that's going to be an adventure, specifically because one of the main reasons that the quad's going into the garage is
Brakes.
it's got no brakes. So I've got to go down the sheer incline with a large trailer. The thing is though, these don't weigh anything. They look big. Well, they manoeuvre really well.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, the quad will pull this down the hill, no problem.
It'll be fine. Let me go and get the quad.
I'll get the gate.
Oh, first time. Right, I'm off. I do believe that in an earlier episode you explained, didn't you, about the crossing here?
Yes.
When there's certain times when this gets slow enough, we can get the quad and the trailer across. I'm a bit. This is going to take another hour.
Yeah, it's probably about an hour to wait before this is low enough that we can get across.
I think we came here a little bit early.
Yeah. Well, shall we play rock, paper, scissors?
No, why don't we count up all the dead baby crabs?
The baby crabs. I'm not sad for them.
I've never seen so many dead baby crabs. I mean, I'm guessing that they just get washed up and...
Do you think it's a pact?
I figured out somewhere we can go while we're waiting for the tide.
Okay. So the quad is just waiting over there to cross what is the new crossing point for boats and all. But back in the day, there used to be stepping stones across here, and they met up with, can you see that straight line there? An old pier. So there used to be stepping stones, and right enough, when the tide is really low, you could just walk across, but not all the time, so that's why they put the stepping stones up. There's a book about this area, I think written in the 50s, and she talks about coming over to this island and using the stepping stones, and she says that she was always scared because they were covered in seaweed, but the locals just hopped about on them like they've been born and bred hopping about on slippery rocks.
Well, you know how bad it is
Never
on
put a foot wrong.
the quayside in front of the cottage. You can't walk on that without slipping over.
That's one of the jobs we've got to do this coming month, in the next few weeks, is clear all that seaweed off that jetty so that it's usable again. The old maps, they're Victorian maps of this area. It shows the stepping stones on the map going over as a path, and then it shows the old pier, and then the path goes up into the forest, and at some point up on that hill there it crosses this little burn that's gurgling down the hill at the minute, and then goes straight to the cottage from there via the route that Scott and I took the other day when it was all overgrown with bracken, past the possible cairn. Here are the old stepping stones. You can see it's not like a jetty or a pier that's outside the front of the cottage or outside the front of the boathouse. It very is just sort of like a one-man track that would have gone off in that direction. You can see where the quad track is on the other side, across the sea there, and where there's the little boat over there that we use. But the track, see where that break is in the trees up there? The path used to come all the way across there and then straight up that hill where the electricity pylons are, up and over towards a little settlement where the old schoolhouse and the old crofts that we've explored over there are.
It's where the lazy beds are.
Yep.
It reminds me of that song.
What song?
I am not your stepping stone.
Never heard of it, not surprisingly.
Monkeys. The
Sorry?
Sex Pistols. You never heard of it?
No. I was never a big fan.
What? The Monkeys?
The Sex Pistols.
The Sex Pistols covered it. I'm sure it was the Monkeys that did it first.
Something else the author of that book that I was just talking about said was that when she visited this island in the 50s, there was still a postman coming to our cottage and delivering the Royal Mail. He had a boat, the Royal Mail post boat, and he used to come over from the mainland way over that way, because we're on the north side of the island now. The cottage is on the sort of southeast. So he used to cross over and bring the post. Could you imagine Royal Mail doing that now?
Well, Royal Mail pay us, don't they, to collect our own mail?
Yeah, because they can't come over here.
What is it? The charter states that they've got with the government or the Crown that they have to deliver to your address. And if they don't deliver to your address, then they have to pay you to collect it from a designated point. So, yeah, we get paid by Royal Mail to collect our mail. I'd rather they delivered it.
Well, if there are any posties out there with a boat.
Well, I've just come over here and noticed this. So see this bit of flat land here? Don't know if the camera can pick that up, leading up to this old oak.
Yeah.
Well, I can get the quad from over there to here, no problem with the trailer. That old oak there is prime firewood.
Yep. Yeah, you can definitely get here at low tide.
So we're having that. That's coming down. I mean, that looks as dead oaks come to me.
It's very dead.
But what I'm saying about it is I can get up there easily. I can chop it down. It can roll down and we can chop it up. I'm going to be talking my back to you. And chop it up here and then just throw it into the quad.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's a good find. I'm always happy when I find dead trees, especially dead oaks.
Much better to cut down something that's already snarfed at you.
I will, just so everybody knows, I am a complete hippie when it comes to trees. There is no way that I would ever cut down a living tree. Ever, ever, ever. It stabs me in the heart when I see people doing it. They don't need to do it. Well, we don't need to do it. There's plenty of dead wood. Speaking of dead wood,
Oh,
everybody should watch Deadwood.
yes, everybody should definitely watch Deadwood. Here is the way that you would come across on the quad. The quad over there. You just at low tide, just drive it round and over. That would work.
Getting back to Deadwood, who's your favourite character in Deadwood?
That's a hard ask.
You told me it was racist Steve.
Swearingen.
I'm wrong. Right. Look, anybody that watched it, look, everybody watched Deadwood. It was the best TV show that was ever made. They cancelled it because that's what HBO do with all the best TV shows. But those who watch it will know how funny saying racist Steve is Katie's favourite character.
Calamity Jane, although you can't really quote her very much.
No, you can't quote anybody very, very much from Deadwood.
No, expletives.
All right, it's a two-person job this, and we haven't got the tripod with us, so we couldn't film doing this. But there you go, we did it. Now it's off to the garage.
This is my great granny. It's not my great granny, it's a photograph of my great grandmother, my German great grandmother. Josephine was her name. Unfortunately for me, Granny's got the worm. When I took this out of storage recently, I noticed that the frame has actually got woodworm. So I hastily wrapped it in bubble wrap so that it wouldn't affect any of the other furniture. But yeah, I can see there's sawdust everywhere inside it. So I doubt this has ever been out of its frame, but I'm going to need to take it out of its frame. And I've got stuff to treat it with. Although having said that, it has been out of its frame. Yeah, it's really dusty. I will show you a close-up of her. You can tell me if you think I look like her. While I've got the woodworm treatment out to sort this, I'm also going to do the softwood lintels above the living room door and window, because they've got evidence of woodworm as well. I'm sure the woodworm are long gone from them, but better safe than sorry. A bit of a dusty granny. Let's see if I can show you a close-up of her. Here she is. Is there a family resemblance, do you think? I love her Victorian clothing. That belt and the chain that she's wearing, I guess that's for glasses, the chain round her neck. It says sort of American frontier, doesn't it? But yeah, it was Victorian Germany. Wow, tons of woodworm dust. Granny, safe again. Just a pine frame, that's why the worm has taken up into it. See all the old lime wash on the underneath of these boards. And we're not going to paint these when we come to finishing the room. We're going to coat them probably with Osmo or wax, but we are going to whitewash the rest of the room, apart from the fireplace. I don't need to get all of this off in order to treat it for woodworm because it's porous, it's lime. Yeah, pretty darn soft in some places. Might need to get a wood hardener into it as well. In fact, I'm going to go and order one. Here's a tip for y'all on cleaning glass, including shower glass. Is there anything this stuff doesn't do? It gets rid of soap scum and all sorts.
Showing us a grown-up sheep now.
You monkey. You being a monkey. I want to get started on this bed so that it matches that one. That was my plan anyway, but Crowdy and Bree have other plans. They've not been out much the last few days, so I don't want to disturb them while they're lying outside enjoying themselves. So, to make a start, I'm going to clear the gutters. I don't have a gutter brush, you know, one of those ones that go round. But I realised the other day I don't need to buy one because I do have that. Surely that's going to scrape out any vegetation. I reckon that'll work. So I'm going to clear the gutters. I'm also, to make this into a flower bed, this is useful for gesticulating. I want to get rid of that. As you can see, it's propping up that bit of gutter there. So I'm going to just silicone seal that and shove that back into place overnight. And then I can get started on doing this properly. Maybe I'll just remove the wood if Crowdy will allow me. Do you see the fern that's growing out of the chimney stack? Well, one of the jobs that we have to do, that Jim recommended, before we repoint the inside chimney breast in the living room. Look at that, that's been growing in there for like a century. Is we have to sort the rendering on the outside of the chimneys first, which of course makes sense. There's no point doing anything inside unless they're watertight. So we need to, wow, there's loads of concrete on the outside of that. I can see now. What a mess. We need to chip off all the old stuff and repoint it, re-render it in limecrete. I think he said 6 parts lime, 1 part concrete mixed up with water. There, that does the job. Wow, these needed doing. Get out my gutter. Come on, you. Obviously no one's been able to reach that for a long time. Blech. Oh, shepherd's crook. Good on you. I can't see what I'm doing. That was easy. In case anyone's wondering, Scott is making bookshelves today for one of his friends. It can go in the fire. Just like the other side of the house, I'm digging all this out, taking it away from the foundation and putting a DPM down, damp-proof membrane. So I'm not bothered about getting these roots. They're all coming out anyway. I just don't want to be dragging myself.
Oh. I was going to get this with a jet wash.
Were you expecting that though?
No. The last time I saw you, you were working on a guttering.
Well, I was going to start digging it away from the side of the house, and then I found that. And then I found that. And then I found that. and then that escalated quickly. I've been thinking.
Well, this is what it looks like in that photograph.
Yeah, all the way along.
All the way along, yeah.
The only thing is, you see how much wood shavings we get dropping off the sheep.
Which we can't do anything about.
That's going to be impossible to keep on top of with this. I mean, it's easy on that, but we don't want that. So my thought as a gardener is that to stop the grass growing all over it again, it needs a blanket of plants. So again, creeping thyme's the best thing to get growing in between these because it's low and it just carpets it and stops anything else growing. But then wood shavings, I was thinking, how would you feel about putting a little fence along the front here to protect the wildflowers and the paths and keep them human.
You mean like
zones.
a small picket fence along that line?
Yeah, well, maybe not quite so pastiche as a picket fence. Maybe like maybe a little rope fence. It's with a sort of natural nautical theme. You know what I mean? But yeah, low, just so that they can't step over it.
I just don't know how practical that's going to be from the point of view of keeping them off.
It would need to be the right height. But we can't let that happen again.
No, absolutely not. There's no way that's happening again. And the other thing is this, as I said, I don't mind coming, we've now got the hose pipe length, so I can come out here with the jet wash and I can just clean it out. It doesn't have to be on the harshest spray.
Look at them all investigating. You get a real sense of what it would have been like and also what it's going to be like.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a shame that they've all been removed.
All the way from there along, yeah. That is a real shame.
I don't understand anybody's thinking as to why you would do that. I don't get it. When you live in a place like this, you want it to be as authentic as possible.
Yeah.
And that we can assume that paving has been there as long as this house has. And it's just to remove it all, just no sense of history.
There are a couple of wee areas that could use patching with some new bits of stone, or we can just plant them. But I don't know. What do you think about the fence idea?
Yeah, it's just what kind of fence, that's all.
Yeah. Just here and along the path. Crowdy's been in eating my wildflower sprouts today. Haven't you, Crowdy?
It's good to see the pair of them out for a change. It's obviously because of the wind, it's keeping the midges away, and also it's quite cool. I can't believe how late it's getting for these two to still have their fleeces on.
It's not warm.
This is how lazy sheep are. Look at her. Yeah, you. Laying there with your face in your food bowl. The aftermath of Saturday snacks. That was a burping.